Today, I will be making every single drink in Valhalla. Specifically, this book is the official Valhalla cocktail recipe book, and so I've been wanting to try to make everything in the book. There are 24 cocktails in this book. I won't be able to consume that much alcohol at once. Obviously, I'll only take like a sip at a time, so we'll also tier list the drinks to see how much I like it, get a feel for how good this recipe book really is. So that's our plan today. The first drink on the docket is going to be the Bad Touch. So 1 ounce of gin, 1 ounce of Pernod, splash of curacao, simple syrup, lime juice, orange juice, and tonic water. I had been collecting ingredients for this for a long while to be able to do this. So for the gin, we'll have Tanqueray London Dry. They mentioned somewhere in the description that is a London Dry gin that they're going for, so London Dry will do. A pretty straightforward colorant. I always treat blue curacao more as paint than actual liquor because it tends to not be the best thing to drink. Simple syrup, I will be using a 2-to-1 of my own design. Always make your own, it's much easier. Lime juice, orange juice, and tonic water. Okay, so I'm gonna go 1/4 ounce of simple syrup, 1/2 ounce of Pernod, a splash of blue curacao. Usually a splash means one of these. You will put your thumb over the hole and then just let a little bit of drip out into there. With that little, it really shouldn't affect the color, but we'll see. 1 ounce of gin, and then lime juice and orange juice. I need to slice a lime. Just squeeze a 1/2 ounce. We can set that aside for later because we will be using more lime. 3/4 of an ounce of orange juice. I just need to grab some ice for the short tin, and then we'll shake this up. I will give it a nice 10-second shake, and you might have noticed that in the recipe, it does call for tonic water at the very end there. See tonic water on the bottom. For reasons that should be obvious, do not put anything bubbly inside your shaker and shake with it. It will explode in your hand. It's gonna be a mess. It's not a pleasant thing. So anything bubbly, do not put in your shaker. Okay. We're going to strain this into rocks glass. Oh, that seems like the same green color that it was before. There really wasn't that much of it, is the thing. So I knew this would be a kind of short pour. So what I'm gonna do now is add the tonic water. A shot, so 1.5 ounces. I would say Fever Tree is a pretty good brand for our mixers. Let's give this a nice topping of tonic water. That's still a little bit of a not great wash line. I think this could do with a rock of ice. Haha, there we go. Bad Touch. Let's see how we did. It does seem to have a similar color to what we were going for, so that's good. That's real good. And let's give it a taste. See how we want to rank this. Ooh, that's interesting. This genuinely would be better if you had a real absinthe, but this is a well thought out drink. I think this is a really good drink. With that in mind, how would we rate this? Now, I should set up the criteria for this. It's an S tier drink if it's something I would go back to often. It would be something in my rotation. It would be something that's like, oh man, I could use a drink right now. I would think about the Bad Touch. An A tier drink would be an actively good drink and a very well-crafted cocktail. Maybe not something I always go to, but I know it tastes good. I know it's a pretty good drink. B tier would be a pretty good drink. I can see what it's going for. It's definitely doing something good. It's definitely well crafted, but it's not necessarily the best. A C tier drink is going to be not my favorite, but I know it could be someone's favorite. So it's a cocktail that like definitely passes. It definitely was crafted well. There's a good idea, but I'm not very impressed with the flavor personally. And then a D tier, I don't expect any F tiers. If there is, we'll add it, but anything in D tier, I will say is either one, just like a not great drink that is like not particularly well crafted, not too simple, something an amateur mixologist like thought of, but it's also just like not necessarily a good drink. It's an interesting idea, but not really that good. Or it's like there's the seed of a good idea there, but it doesn't come together that well. And an F tier drink, if we find any of those, is a waste of good booze. Do not waste any money. Do not waste any booze on making it. I would genuinely say Bad Touch would be S tier. This is a very good drink. I like this. It's problematic because I might finish this. Okay, so the next drink we're gonna do is beer. This is a relatively easy drink. It's just hopped whiskey, which it took me a long time to find. Prosecco, which is pretty easy to find, and malt soda, which I also had a hard time finding. I had to order this online. We got malt soda, we have Prosecco, and we have hopped whiskey. Given that I went to all this trouble, I'm now curious what this hopped whiskey is supposed to be, especially because what we're making is beer. So we're trying to see if this actually tastes like beer. We will actually compare it to one of my favorite beers. So 2 ounces of malt soda. Ooh, that's bubbling weird. This is going to taste like the weirdest beer I've ever had, but I do think it's gonna taste like beer. 1 ounce of our hopped whiskey. The thing with beer is that it does taste like hops and malt, so I am pretty sure this is gonna taste like beer. It's just gonna taste very bizarre. Okay, that bubbles very aggressively. We could add ice to this, but I've never drank a beer with ice in it. I just serve it ice cold. So just gently stir it because it's very bubbly and very volatile. Let's have a cold one with a nice cold beer. That is not bad. That is weird. Does it remind me of beer? Not greatly, but kind of. This tastes like someone explained beer badly and then tried to make it in the aggregate because they didn't have actual beer. This vaguely reminds me of a beer, but it's nothing like a beer. But it does go down kind of similarly to a beer. I'm gonna crack open one of my favorite beers and compare. It is an interesting take on how to try to make beer that isn't beer. So this is my favorite beer, Blue Moon. It's a very mild beer. It's not that strong, but it's also like quite flavorful compared to other beers. Oh yeah, delicious, smooth, bready, delightful. I love a Blue Moon, and it's not nearly as bubbly as this. I think the huge issue with this is that it's too much like a soda. It's too bubbly to really remind me of beer. It is a very interesting attempt. I will give it that. In terms of the rating, sadly for beer, it goes in D tier. It is not it is not an undrinkable drink. It is a very interesting take on how to build beer in the aggregate. Next one up, the Bleeding Jane. There is no alcohol in this drink, despite it being in this cocktail book. I have heard that a Bloody Mary is like a nice sobering drink, and so this might help me. It might be nice to be able to get a little bit away from all this alcohol and like flush it out a little bit. Let's get all that together into our shaker. We will do 6 ounces of our vegetable juice, in this case tomato juice. 6. Next up, half a teaspoon of horseradish. Dump it in there. 1 teaspoon of ketchup. Some hot sauce. I believe it's usually Tabasco. Just a nice dash. 1 ounce of pickle juice. And finally, some salt and pepper. We only have salt, but let's just do like a nice squeeze of salt. There we go. I don't think I put the teaspoon of lemon juice, so let me do that right now. So as far as I understand, you are not supposed to shake this drink. You are supposed to roll it because it's it will freeze. Like the tomato juice will freeze. So all we're gonna do is pour into there, and pour back, then pour back. You just roll it back and forth until it's properly mixed. We saw how tall it was getting, so I think a tall glass is justified here. Just open pour that. That's probably not gonna fit even. And let's see. Hopefully I did this right. This is supposed to be a Bloody Mary, but usually it's thicker, so I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. Oh, that is weird. Oh, that is very, very bizarre. It is not unpleasant though. It's actually quite good. Okay, I've been missing out on Bloody Marys. It turns out this is really, really nice. This is this is quite good actually. What this is like drinking a hamburger is what it reminds me of. This feels like I'm drinking a hamburger. It's actually quite good. I really like this actually. Now, will I go out of my way to make this? Probably not. If we were gonna tier list this, like, first of all, this is a bunch of weird ingredients. Second of all, like, it's not necessarily something I would love, so yeah, I'm thinking it's C tier. This is not my favorite drink at all. Like, it's very interesting, and I can see why it's good, and like, I know what it is. It's a Bloody Mary, which is an established drink that people quite like. It's not necessarily the drink for me. I just don't think, like, I tend to like a traditional cocktail more than I like a mishmash of like random juices. It is sobering too. It is a nice break from all the other stuff that we're gonna drink today. Next one, the Bloom Light. Oh yeah, this one was gonna be weird to me. So, oh, that's what it's gonna look like. It's going to be cinnamon whiskey, rum chata, and malt soda. I can see why people like these things. I'm just not really convinced that it's that good. I can see how these are gonna be good together too, is the thing. So let's do it. Shot of Fireball. Oh my god, I spilled it so much. Okay, you know what? Shot of Fireball. I completely missed the tin. Shot of rum chata. And then all we're gonna do is shake that. There we go. Now we're not done yet. That's not an ideal wash line, but we are not done yet. We are going to add 1.5 ounces or a shot of malt soda, and hopefully this gives us the color that the picture gave us. That is like a bizarre chocolate milk color. That does not necessarily seem pleasant, especially knowing what's in it. I don't quite understand what the point of this is yet, so we'll see if that actually helps it at all. No, that's bad. Okay, we are going to have to add an F tier. Do not make this drink. This is not a good drink. It added like a weird sort of unpleasantness to everything because like it didn't need that flavor, and then it's adding like a bunch of bubbles that if your milk is bubbly, that is not a particularly nice one. Do not go out of your way to make this drink. Do not go out of your way to buy yourself some ranchada or some Fireball. This is quite gross. We are going to have to make an F tier, and then we are putting it in the F tier. F tier for the Bloom Light. Do not go out of your way to make this drink. It's bad. Yikes moment. Definitely a yikes. This was not good at all. Blue Fairy. It's gonna be this really cool looking blue thing. It would probably be served on a rock, especially with these ingredients. Yeah, so 1 ounce of Pernod. I'm gonna try this with actual absinthe. 1 ounce of blue curacao, 1 ounce of lemon juice, and 2 ounces of water, weirdly. So they want us to like intentionally water it down. Absinthe is a very strong flavor. You would want to like tone it down. So it's not an unreasonable thing to want to do that. So I believe we're gonna serve this up with a rock of ice. 1 ounce of blue curacao again. So this is what's gonna make it blue. Blue curacao is a very sweetened orange liqueur. It tastes like regular curacao, except it's usually generally a little bit more low quality, but it has this really nice blue tinge to it. You do have to recognize that it's generally not a well sought after ingredient because of the fact that like it looks cool for people who don't really know cocktails that well. For people who do, it is a pretty good sign that you're more interested in how it looks than how it tastes. 1 ounce of lemon juice. I don't tend to actually measure these. I just squeeze them into the thing. And so like a full lemon will be roughly 1 ounce, maybe a little bit more than that. So unlike a lime, you might get a little less than a ½ ounce for half. The other thing too is that lemons usually have little nubs on the end. It is much easier to put in your juice squeezer if you slice off the nub as well. Squeeze our lemon. For 1 ounce, I'm just gonna use 1 full lemon. It's weird that they don't add simple syrup to this. You usually want to balance your lemon or lime, your citrus component, with an equal amount of sugar in order to balance out your sweet and sour. We did add a full ounce of blue curacao, so that might be where the sugar is coming from, because blue curacao tends to be quite sweet. Let's give this a nice shake. Alright, and we're gonna want to strain this into a glass with the rock. Ooh, look at that. That is a very deep blue because my blue curacao is quite blue. That's lovely, actually. I can imagine this tasting quite nice, actually. I love absinthe, as I mentioned, and there's it goes well with a little bit of sourness. So let's see. Ooh. Okay, one thing to note. I did forget to add the water. Maybe the 2 ounces of water does change something with this. One sec. Improves the wash line a great deal too. This is actually pretty close, yeah. So let's see if the water helps it, because I did notice that, especially because we use real absinthe instead of just Pernod, the absinthe took over quite handily. The water generally does help to like stretch it out even further, to really like be able to pick out the specific notes. It's really nice. This is a good idea that doesn't actually work that well. Yeah, because I don't think this is necessarily a well-crafted drink is the issue. I can see what they thought and how they thought it might be good, but it doesn't work. We're on D tier, to be honest. It is a D tier drink to me. The concept is there. Like absinthe plus lemon juice. I think you need more sweetness, and you can't get it from blue curacao, so you need to add simple syrup to this. They took the sour formula. They tried to like put a twist on it to try to make it unique, and that is admirable. This does have seeds of being a good drink somewhere. I might try this with real curacao, for instance. Brandtini. It's a very weird one. So looks kind of like that. And so it's vodka, gin, triple sec, simple syrup, lime juice, orange juice, and cranberry juice. This sounds like a very bizarre Long Island, but not quite, because a Long Island is just basically all the different types of clear boozes, whereas this has like multiple juices in it. So this is a little more than that. So I haven't been practicing what I preach, but you really should make your cocktails cheapest to most expensive ingredient, just so that if you mess up while you're pouring your drink, like what's in there isn't as much of a waste. The first thing is going to be ½ an ounce of a simple syrup. There's no label on this, it's just my generic 2:1 simple syrup. 3/4 ounce of orange juice, 2 ounces of cranberry juice. This is interesting. Are they like going for a Cosmo thing instead of like a martini? ½ an ounce of triple sec. 3/4 ounce of gin. Once again, we're going with Tanqueray. And 3/4 of an ounce of vodka. Now note, a lot of martinis, you tend to want a shot of some kind of clear spirit. So it would either be full shot of vodka, a full shot of gin, or you can mix it up. And if this is supposed to be a riff on a martini, then we would be remiss to not serve it in a martini glass. Shaken, not stirred. Ooh, that is a pretty color. That is a really nice color. Is this a weird sort of hybrid between a Cosmo and a martini. That tastes so much more like a Cosmo than it does a martini. I think they probably wanted to make something like a martini, but then they wanted to get closer to something more accessible. Cosmos are quite accessible. I genuinely quite enjoy it. It's not necessarily one of my favorites. It wouldn't go into S or A tier, but it's a pretty nice drink. I'm gonna give it a B. I think it deserves a B. Cobalt Velvet. This one should be interesting. Shot of gin, 1/4 ounce of lime juice. So we're probably just gonna use half a lime. 2 ounces of prosecco, 2 ounces of voltage soda, which I wasn't sure what they meant by this until I realized they mean Mountain Dew voltage. And then a splash of cola. This involves 3 bubbly ingredients: the cola, the voltage soda, and the prosecco. So all we're gonna be mixing together is the gin and the lime juice. Now, I'm gonna need a rocks glass with a rock. Just strain that into the glass. Ooh, that is... I thought I saw some color there that shouldn't be there. I thought I didn't wash it right, but it's fine. That's actually as intended. So now we're gonna do 2 ounces of voltage soda, and then it has a really pretty color, so this is gonna change the dynamic of this. So yep, there we go, it turned blue. When they say a splash, usually they just mean one of these. Just like tilt it and let it fall into a glass. Let's see how it tastes at least. The soda overpowers it, unfortunately. And I kind of did expect this. I don't mind like highballs where you put a flavorless soda water in, but I do mind when it is like soda plus spirit, because often you're putting the soda to hide the taste of the spirit, and that's exactly what's happening here. It does need a little bit of sugar too, like some simple syrup to balance out the sourness of everything. When you don't have that, it like overpowers, and I think they wanted the sugar from the soda to like carry that, and it doesn't. They had a good idea, but I don't think it turned out to be as good as they wanted it to be. So the Cobalt Velvet is a D. It is not an F. It is not a waste of good booze. It is not a waste of money, but it is a not great drink that has some thought into it. You would have to workshop it again, but this flavor profile is interesting enough that it's worth building around. And so I would give it a D. I don't think it's a very good drink, but it is an interesting drink. All right, the Crevice Spike. It's got a crazy green color to it, and it is white rum, melon liqueur. That's probably where it gets green. Midori. Lemon juice, lime juice, ginger ale, and a dash of hot sauce. We're gonna go with 1 ounce of our white rum, 2 ounces of Midori, which is a lot more than I'm used to putting in. Oh, we might. No, we're not. An ice cube is gonna help this. An ice cube will definitely help this. An ounce of ginger ale. We will try the ginger ale, but if it tastes like it's not gonna matter, then I think we're gonna change it to ginger beer in the future. 1 ounce of that. This could use a rock, but I think this is fine the way it is. Oh, right, the dash of hot sauce. I have no idea what this is meant for. The Crevice Spike. I don't think I've been calling out the names of these drinks, but surprisingly, the hot sauce actually helps it. You don't taste the ginger at all. Like, ginger ale is the wrong move here. If you're looking for ginger flavor, you need ginger beer for this. And probably more. Like, I would put a full shot to 2 ounces in there. There is an interesting drink in here somewhere, but it's not, as it is now, it's just not really a well-made cocktail to me. I'm going to give this another D. It's worth workshopping. I don't think it's particularly good. Next one, the Fluffy Dream. This is a very interesting color. It's got like that tiki vibe to it. That might be cool. It does have velvet falernum too. Like that's a staple in a lot of tiki drinks. So more white rum, a splash of blue curacao, half an ounce of melon liqueur. Okay, so this is gonna be already more balanced. Half an ounce of velvet falernum. Velvet falernum is a very interesting ingredient. Half an ounce of simple syrup. Okay. Half 1 ounce of lime juice. And 1 ounce of pineapple juice. So this is gonna be tiki. I like it. I like this a lot. I think that this will end up being a much more balanced, much more complete drink. A half ounce of simple syrup. 1 ounce of lime juice. So just take my limes and squeeze. 1 ounce of pineapple juice. A half ounce of our melon liqueur. A half ounce of velvet falernum. Very excited for this drink because this feels like someone who knows a little more about mixology than the other ones. And finally, ounce of rum. I think this one wants an open pour, so I'm gonna get a taller glass and just open pour it. That is a cool color. That is a very neat color. It does sort of follow through. They want us to add like a lime wedge to it. I don't think that's really necessary. I can see like some garnishes being good, but I just want to rate it based on the taste alone. So this is what I was hoping for, because this highlights the need for simple syrup in so many other of the recipes. And it's very sweet because we're putting a lot of sweet stuff in it. We're putting velvet falernum, but the simple syrup helps tie it together because all the sour elements from the velvet falernum, from the limes, is what makes this a lot more balanced, a lot more approachable, a lot more. It ties together so much better. So this is a really nice drink. It has that tiki vibe where it's like feels very much like a beach drink. This is a pretty well-crafted cocktail. I think that earns it a B. It is a well-crafted drink. It is a very nice drink. It's not one of the best drinks I ever had, but it's definitely quite good. The Fringe Reaver, pretty beautiful old-looking drink with inside of an up glass with a nice pool of orange, and it is going to contain bourbon, sugar cubes. This will be fun. I think I know what these are for. This will be a cool thing. So we're gonna take one of these sugar cubes and we're gonna place it in the center. And then, so this is a really old school thing that they used to do. So we're gonna soak it with 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. And then crush it with our spoon or a muddler. I have a muddler, so there we go. A nice sugary, spicy paste. So we have this set up. Let's say aside and prepare the rest. So half an ounce of apple juice, a 1/4 ounce of vermouth. I'm going with a sweet vermouth. And finally, some bourbon. It's a pretty complex bourbon, but it's not so complex to be inaccessible. Something you'd be able to appreciate even as a new mixologist. And something that you'll still like even as you get more experience and learn about like other stuff. Shake for about 12 seconds. Strain that into our coupe, which we've prepared with the Angostura. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a lovely drink. I'm actually a little bit hesitant to put the club soda, but I'm going to follow the recipe. 2 ounces of club soda to top it off. And the Fringe Reaver. Oh, that is delightful. Oh, this is really good actually. Ooh, yeah, that's really good actually. This is a banger. This one hits. I didn't really like the drink so far in this cocktail book. This one hits very well. Now, I will say I was right. It does not need the club soda. All the club soda does is thin it out for people who are not into like the bold flavors of like a particularly strong whiskey, a particularly weird vermouth. I would give this an A tier, which I think would make it the first A tier. Yeah, the Fringe Reaver gets an A tier. I genuinely think this is a quite good drink. It is like a couple of steps away from being S tier, genuinely. Alrighty, next up is going to be the Grizzly Temple. Now, spoiler alert, I've tried this before. It's okay. It is a very interesting drink. It's vodka, creme de menthe, lime juice, ginger ale, and mint. I love working with mint. I was very curious about this recipe already, so I wanted to give it a go, and it's pretty decent. But let's remind myself how good it was. So it needed a shaker, right? Yeah. So first things first, get our shakers ready and squeeze in our lime. 1 ounce of vodka, 1 ounce of creme de menthe. Shake for like 10-15 seconds. Strain this into a martini glass. And look at that color. That is a beautiful color, honestly. Not the best wash line, but that's what the ginger beer is going to be for. 2 ounces of ginger beer. There we go. What a beautiful wash line now. That is picture perfect. That is right where I want it to be. Whenever you garnish with fresh mint, you do need to give it a nice slap. Give it a nice clap to release its oils. It can release its oils, and then when you drink from it, you want to drink from the minty side so that your nose gets pressed into the mint and you can enjoy that smell as you sip from it. So it's not bad. I do enjoy this drink. I do love me a minty drink. One of my proudest inventions is a drink I made for Made Mint, both of them. I genuinely think it's quite good. I think this gets a B from me. It is a very nice drink. It does taste quite good. It's not particularly complex, but like I said, it doesn't have to be. It's a pretty good drink, all considered. The next drink is going to be the Gut Punch, which is a very simple drink. We take it in a very interesting direction. So it's going to be 1 ounce orange juice and 1 ounce whiskey, 2 ounces of whiskey. 1 ounce of orange juice. Now 1 ounce of this whiskey. And then we're just gonna give this a good hard shake. Yeah, that's the right color. It's a little bit of a strange color, but that's the right color. And then finally, we top with 2 ounces of tonic water. Honestly, whenever something asks you to top it, I would just top until the top of the wash line so that the wash line is at the top of the cup. But like, I'm gonna follow the directions to the T. So, like, I really want to make sure it's their recipes so that I'm properly trying their recipes. And there we go, the Gut Punch. Named such because it's presumably very strong. It is a gut punch because it's bad. Oh boy, this is really, really bad. Holy crap. I can't exaggerate how bad this is. Okay, yeah, it's this one. This is F tier. This is very clearly F tier. This is just a bad drink. It's not even trying to be a good drink. It was just sort of like what feels strong here. So the Mars Blast. It's a very interesting drink. Another orange drink because it contains orange juice, as you can see. And so this is going to contain 2 ounces of tequila, 1 ounce of lemon juice, 3 ounces of orange juice, 2 bitters, a 1/4 teaspoon of hot sauce, and more tonic water. Given how the last one went, I won't lie, I'm not particularly thrilled about this one. Juice 1 ounce of lemon, 3 ounces of orange juice, 1.5, 3, 2 dashes of Angostura bitters, They say a 1/4 teaspoon of hot sauce. I'm just gonna put, that seems like 1 dash would be enough. 2 ounces of tequila. I'm gonna have to open this one up. Hot sauce in a drink. It's not as weird as you think, except also like this cookbook, this recipe book asks for hot sauce in a lot of drinks, and I'm not sure why. And then of course we're adding everything but the tonic water because you shouldn't put carbonated things in a shaker. Give it a nice hard shake for 15 seconds. Let's strain this into our glass. Oh no. It wants the ice. It wants the ice. Yeah, I would say this is an open pour. Mars Blast. This is like the weirdest tequila sunrise you've ever had, because tequila plus orange juice is already a thing. This is a tequila sunrise that someone tried to make more complex and failed at. The fact that Angostura bitters does not work in this drink, and in fact takes away from this drink, is kind of a bad thing. I don't want to give it an F, but like also I don't feel like it's heading in any good directions. When I look at it that way, I don't hate the attempt. I just think they went in a completely wrong way to do that. Let alone the fact that once again, it needed simple syrup. If you add like an ounce of simple syrup to this drink, it becomes infinitely better. If you add an ounce of simple syrup, it like balances out all those bitter and sour flavors. Okay, next one up is the Mercury Blast. Oh boy, right. So, very interesting blue color, but that blue is gonna come from blue curacao, which I've talked about before. It's not a particularly high quality ingredient. The only cinnamon whiskey I have right now is Fireball, which I kind of roasted last week because I did not think it was very good. I think it's very flat. It is a bite of cinnamon with a little bit of like weird whiskey-ish flavor. They said 75 ounces of lemon, so I'm gonna go with half a lemon and squeeze the heck out of it. Try to get as much lemon out of this as possible. And then we just shake that. Shake with ice. Probably just gonna give it a nice 10-second shake. And apparently this fills a double shot glass. We didn't have one of those, but we have the closest thing. Ooh, it really took on the blue of the blue curacao. Mercury Blast. We had Mars Blast before, and now we have Mercury Blast. That Fireball is not good stuff. It's not undrinkable. It's just... there's really nothing to this drink, really. I think that earns that a D tier. It's not an F. It's not a pure failure because it's like it is following a formula that works. It's just that it's a formula that demands better whiskey. So we had Mars Blast, we had Mercury Blast, and now we have Moon Blast. Yeah, it's an interesting red color, and it's got a lot of ingredients here. So we got white rum, blue curacao, simple syrup, pomegranate juice, pineapple juice, and club soda. So this might taste like a weird sort of tiki drink. I'm actually kind of excited for this one. The irony is that this one asks for simple syrup, and then for once it's one that doesn't need it, because like pineapple juice and pomegranate juice are sweet enough that they can substitute the sugar content. Whereas like if you're relying on other spirits to do that, it's too strong to basically be able to mask any of that. We finally have simple syrup, except that now it doesn't necessarily matter. 1 ounce of simple syrup, 2 to 1. 2 to 1 is what I use. I don't know what they use, but you should always use 2 to 1 for reasons I want to explain in a video one day. That is a very scant amount of pineapple juice. 1 ounce of pomegranate juice. And finally, 1.5 ounces of white rum. Probably give it a nice like 12-second shake. Moonblast. Yeah, that's quite good actually. This time, the simple syrup is the problem. The simple syrup is the problem in the other way. It didn't need it. It is very cloyingly sweet. It is overly sweet. You also don't need the club soda. The club soda thins it out too much. You do get a nice hit of the rum. Now, it needs a stronger rum, and I feel like they wanted white rum so that I can have this gorgeous color. I mean, you can't see it due to the white ice, but if we use better ice, it'd be a really beautiful red color. I can't give it an A because of the ways that they took away from it. It is quite good. Okay, it's that one. It is a pretty good drink. I'm gonna give it a B. Okay, so the next one is the Piano Man. A little bit of spoilers. We're gonna have the Piano Man and the Piano Woman. And the difference apparently is that the Piano Man is stronger, has more like intense ingredients, whereas the Piano Woman is gonna be mellower. So I think I'm gonna like the Piano Woman more because I think they're gonna balance it better, given the nature of everything we've gotten so far. The Piano Man. So it's a very, very cool like blue drink, and it has tequila, blue curacao, violet liqueur, simple syrup, lime juice, and water. The water's an interesting one, but we'll see. I believe you top it with water, so I don't think you add it to the shaker, but let me check that real fast. Oh no, you do add the water. I'm tempted to skip it because the whole point of shaking is diluted. While you're shaking, the ice slightly melts. You're already adding water when you shake with ice. Half an ounce of simple syrup, 1 ounce of lime juice, 1/4 ounce of blue curacao. It's a little more than an ounce, but we should be able to compensate. 1 1/4 ounce of tequila. That is very specific. And then finally, 2 ounces of water because they call for that, so I'm gonna follow the recipe, which again I feel like is pointless, but we'll see where they're going with it. Give it a good shake. The glass that they used in the image looked like a Glencairn. A Glencairn is meant for tasting. It's not really meant for pouring cocktails. You're not really meant to drink from this, but I'm trying to stick to as accurate of the glassware as possible. Whatever the water did, it helped with the wash line at the very least. The Piano Man. That is a margarita. Did I not put the creme de violet in? I forgot to put the violet liqueur in. We can add it after the fact. It's just not going to be as well mixed as we want it to be. Oh my gosh, look at the way it's affected the color. That is so cool. Holy moly. Wait a minute, that's so cool actually. Look at that now. Wow. Okay, that's a cool color. Let's see how this tastes. It tastes good, but this takes it over. So what they have made is a watered down margarita, and I mean literally watered down because they added water to it. But then you add the creme de violet, which is a good liqueur. It really does taste good, but it overpowers it. It needed less creme de violet. This is so close to a good drink. The ingredients that are here are good. It's not my favorite, but it's gonna be someone's favorite. And that is exactly how I define a C. So similar sort of blue color, but the ingredients are actually substantially different. Well, not substantially, slightly different. It's going to be a 3/4 ounce pour of dark rum, half an ounce of blue curacao, half an ounce of the violet liqueur again, 3/4 ounce of simple syrup, half an ounce of lime juice, and an ounce of tonic water. 2-to-1 as always. Some people would call that rich simple syrup. I just call it normal simple syrup because that should be the normal. The colors with the blue curacao and this violet liqueur is spectacularly beautiful. I'm gonna have to start making more things with violet liqueur, and I already have a good idea. 3/4 ounce of rum. Give it a shake. Serve it up. That is a really bad wash line, but that's my fault for picking the wrong glass. Just the violet liqueur turns everything super beautiful. The piano woman. That is so significantly different from the piano man. And it's ironic that they say that the piano man has the stronger ingredients because this is so much stronger. Maybe because of the rum I use, because I'm using like a very high quality rum. This is a good drink. This is unironically a very lovely drink. It has the growth potential to be an excellent drink. So yeah, happily give this an A. Happily give this an A. I realized when prepping for this stream that a lot of these are going to end up involving vodka, so it's going to be carried a lot by the other flavors within the drinks. It's going to be relying on that. I'm not sure how good these are going to turn out. They should turn out fine given that it's vodka, and all vodka does is add firepower. It doesn't really add flavor, it adds firepower. For instance, this one, the pile driver, is vodka, triple sec, orange juice, and bitters. So this is a weird drink, not necessarily because of the ingredients. The ingredients are not necessarily that's weird, it's the amounts of each. Add ice and shake. What kind of glass did they want this in? Oh, they want it in like a weird jar thing. So let me try to find a weird glass for this. Ooh, that is a bizarre color. That's just so unappealing. Oh, I don't like that color. That is not a very nice looking drink. Yeah, the Angostura bitters definitely affected the color on this, and usually I love what Angostura bitters does to things, including the color. I guess adding it to orange just does not flatter this drink at all. This looks radioactive. This looks a little toxic. The thing is, with the ingredients, I can't imagine it's bad though. Yeah, it's definitely not bad at all. It's not good, but it's not bad. There's nothing wrong with this drink at all. It's just not, it doesn't do the clever things that you would want out of any cocktail because the base spirit is vodka. Vodka doesn't add anything to this. If this was literally any other more interesting spirit, it might be nice. There's nothing wrong with this drink, but there's nothing good about it either. Okay, so how would I rate this? Because again, it's not bad, it's just not good either. There's nothing wrong with this drink, there's just nothing good about it either. Next drink, the Sparkle Star. Another vodka based drink, so it's gonna want vodka, a simple syrup, lime juice, cranberry juice, grenadine, egg white, and then it says optionally edible luster dust. Given that it's optional, I'm not gonna do it. I really do not want to add like things that are just for visual flair. I'm not gonna do anything that is intentionally designed just for visual flair. It better also add something to the flavor profile. Okay. So we got the egg whites. Let's go with the ½ ounce of grenadine, like the 3 ounces of cranberry juice. It's a little more than 3, but that should be fine. ½ an ounce of lime juice, and then finally 2 ounces of vodka. So because we have a egg white in here, what that does is very cool actually. It's going to give it a thick froth, which adds a super silky texture to the drink. So it's gonna have like a nice silky texture, and it's gonna have a nice head of foam over the top of it. In order to get that foam right, we have to dry shake this in order to like unravel the proteins. Like the egg white is like a big old mess of proteins, and we're basically unwrapping it to the point that it becomes that frothy foam. So we're gonna dry shake, and anytime you dry shake, you have to be very careful. The reason your shaker stays closed when you're shaking is because of the cold. The cold is creating a vacuum that sucks the cups together, and that's what's causing these to stay together. Because there's no ice in this right now, it wants to come apart very easily. You have to be very careful while you're shaking this, while also shaking aggressively to get the proteins unraveled, like I said. So I'm gonna try to do 15 minutes of dry shaking without getting myself dirty. Hopefully 15. Okay, you still need the chilling and dilution that comes from the ice, so we're now gonna shake with ice. Right. This is gonna be a nice one. Oh, that is a strange color. That is not the color I expect. Actually, no, I should have expected it. It's got so much red stuff in it. See that foam forming on top and all the foam like coming out? Oh, this is a beautiful drink, actually. That is a beautiful drink. Look at that. That is a gorgeous drink, actually. Dude, I forgot to add the simple syrup. It might need simple syrup. We'll see. But we did add grenadine. I actually don't know why they would add simple syrup if you added grenadine. Let's see how it's a taste, though. Yeah. This will be improved by gin. Okay, the simple might help it out, but I don't think by a lot. 1, it needs a different base spirit. 2, it needs to be rebalanced. There's a little too much cranberry juice. It kind of takes over. It really isn't bad though. I mean, like, it's hard to be bad when it's just a spiked fruit juice. And spiked fruit juice would probably be a C. Next up, Sugar Rush. It's considered girly, which based on the color, I guess I can see why, but vodka, simple syrup, pomegranate juice, pineapple juice. They weren't capping. It's a really simple drink. So with the rule of cheapest to most expensive, we're gonna go half an ounce of pineapple juice, half an ounce of pomegranate juice, and finally an ounce and a half of vodka. Let me just grab ice and we can shake it up. Give it a nice good shake. And strain into a lovely little glass. That's quite pretty. I mean, it's to be expected. Pomegranate juice does that, but I didn't think it would be that color. I imagine this can't be a complicated cocktail. It's just not. It just doesn't have that many ingredients in it. Including the fact that it has vodka instead of any other base spirit. And this is beautiful. This is genuinely a beautiful drink. And once again, it's just disappointing about how bland it is. Just because all it is pomegranate juice and pineapple juice. I can feel myself getting drunker as I drink all these things, but it's like as far as I'm aware, all I've been drinking is juice, because that's all these taste like. I'm gonna continue sipping it because it's pleasant. It's just not an interesting cocktail, which again puts it probably in the C tier from I kind of want to demote these to D now, just because they're so not interesting. Like the orange juice one, like I said, it was like it tasted fine, but there was no potential, and I think I stand by that. But because all it is a combination of fruit juices diluted by vodka, I just can't give it a higher grade. This whole book has been very weird, and not gonna lie, if I'm being fully honest, in a weird sort of way, I'm regretting it. With the experience I have with mixology, it's just a little bit hard for me to enjoy some of these drinks, knowing how I could make them better. For instance, Bad Touch and Piano Woman in this cocktail book are legit like great drinks. They are unironically great drinks. I made myself a Piano Woman with my own spec the other day. Piano Woman is actually such a great drink. Like, I unironically love that drink. Other ones are like, there are like a handful of other ones where it's like, oh, these are pretty good drinks, they're just not for me. And then just so many of these are either like, okay, you really need to add simple here, you really need to add simple here, you need to try something other than vodka, you need to, this one just sucks. Like there's two that I had that just suck. It's okay, I've made drinks that suck too when I've experimented. So it's like, I'm not gonna dog them for that, because I experiment with drinks all the time. I'll put random shit together just because it sounds fun. I appreciate that they experiment so much. These are unlike any other drinks I've ever had. They're trying to make unique drinks, and that's really cool because like we need more variety. And so it's nice to be able to try all these drinks. I just didn't end up liking a lot of them. Sunshine Cloud. So more vodka, but this time we're going creme de cacao, bourbon, bitters, and whole milk. The bourbon is the one that feels out of place here. Creme de cacao with vodka, that actually doesn't sound too bad for me. Like, okay, in this case, this is a good use of vodka. This might be a good use of vodka. The main flavorings are gonna be like sweet liqueurs that don't have much firepower. So you actually want the firepower from the vodka. Okay, so 1 ounce of our creme de cacao, 1 ounce of bourbon, 1.5 ounces of vodka, that's 1, that's 1.5, 3 dashes of bitters, going heavy on the bitters here, and then finally 2.5 ounces of milk, whole milk to be exact. I understand why it had to be whole milk for the milk clarification thing, because you need all the fats. Once again, that is not this is not a particularly appealing mixture right now, but we're not done yet. So let me grab some crushed ice. Even the smell is hilarious. It's like, it's not unpleasant is the thing. It smells like chocolate and bourbon, which is very bizarre, but it's not bad. Apparently you just open for this. This is not the color at all. Okay, I'm gonna strain the rest. That just straight looks like milk. What the fuck was this even called? Sunshine Cloud. Sunshine Cloud. I can't decide if I like it or not, but it's absolutely not a bad drink. It's honestly quite good, in fact. I think I'm settling on it being good. It's just not very well balanced once again. Like instead of 1.5 ounces of vodka, why not just put more bourbon? Oh man, it's almost a good drink is how I feel about it. Which feels sad to say, but that's like exactly how I feel about it. It's almost a good drink. It's not quite a good drink, but it's almost a good drink, and I know it has its potential. Okay, the next one is the Suplex. Crazy orange drink, and it's crazy because it's vodka, Aperol, orange juice, and bitters. Now, that's not super outlandish on the face of it until we get into the measurements, which, oh boy. Let's go cheapest to expensive again. Orange juice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Honestly, at that point, why not to just screw off the top and then pour a whole ounce of bitters in there? There are some drinks that do that. They're crazy drinks. 1/2 ounce of Aperol and 1.5 ounces of vodka. I'm gonna shake this with ice, so be right back. And then the picture on in the booklets, it seems to want a rock of ice, so I have good rocks of ice, so let me grab one of those. A homemade, perfectly clear rock of ice. Once we pour it over, it's gonna become crystal clear. Just wash it off. And look at that wash line, perfect. It's a gorgeous color too, actually. The Aperol and the bitters giving it that deep, like blood red. I'm very into that. Look at that. That is a very pretty color to me. Let's see how this goes. I like this drink, but The issue now is that instead of toning down the bitter to make it more accessible, it needs to turn up the bitter. That you do that two ways. You do it by adding even more Angostura bitters, which sounds crazy given that you already added 8, and use Campari instead of Aperol. Campari is even more bitter, so I genuinely think this drink already would be better with Campari. That being said, this is a good drink. I'm trying to decide whether it's a B or an A, and I'm leaning A. Like, this is an imperfect version of a drink that's actively good. There we go. There we go. The suplex. Honestly, it got me. I'm down for the count with this one. This one's so good.